We got a stat going. Korvold's gonna do 5 damage to the Demon of the Dark Schemes. D-Manny's gonna respond by Hero's Downfall on the Korvold. Now we got a Deflecting Swat on the stack. And Hero's Downfall is gonna target Liliana now. Deflecting Swat, so good. Today on Commander Replay, we check out this Kethis Humans list and find out if we can out-graveyard the Sedris deck. Next on Commander Replay. I want to thank my awesome Patreon supporters. You guys are awesome. If you want to help support the channel and vote on which decks I play next, feel free to check out my Patreon at the link below. Welcome back everyone, playing some Kethis the Hidden Hand today. Today's deck list comes to us from Patreon supporter Nate. This should be a nice break from all the Boros decks that we played last week. Anyway, take a look at this opening hand. It's got lands. Lands are cool. I did take this out for a spin just a few moments ago and kind of got stuck with a hand that was just like entirely lands and ramp. Had a couple creatures, but no ability to interact. And then we got comboed out on turn 6. Wasn't super great. So that brings it to our turn 1. There's a Misako the Humorless. Tap creatures you control can block as though they weren't tapped. I'm sure that's going to cause problems for Magic Online. Let's go ahead and play the Snowland. It does come in tap. We don't have anything to do in turn 1. Brings back to our turn 2. There's a Swords to Plowshares, just lands from our opponents. Yeah, I guess we play a Godless Shrine tapped, because, yep, not much else happening. And we'll tap our lands out, we'll pass. Let's take a look at what we're playing today. We're playing Kethis the Hidden Hand, Abzan for a 3-4. Legendary spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. And the part that I always forget about, exile 2 legendary cards from your graveyard. Until end of turn, you may cast legendary cards from your graveyard. Pretty cool, pretty cool. It gives you the ability to get stuff back late. Usually I only remember the cost reduction half of it and then forget the rest of it. But we are playing a human tribal deck today, so we're going to see lots of legendary humans. Like I said, the deck list does come from Patreon supporter Nate. Here's a quick peek at it. You'll see a lot of 3-drops in the deck. Normally that's a bit of a red flag for me, but because Kethis is cost reduction in the command zone, having a lot of 3-drops like this doesn't bother me in the way that it would for like some other deck that doesn't have cost reduction in the command zone. So I do like that. There's a bit of removal in this deck. There's a bit of card draw. I wouldn't say there's tons and tons of either, but it's a fairly well-balanced deck. In the last game that we played, I managed to not draw any of those and drew only lands and ramps, so that was kind of an issue. But yeah, hopefully we get a good showing from the deck today. We get to see some cool legendary humans and see what kind of things this deck can do. With that, brings us back to our turn. There's a Mana Confluence. We will cast this Kethis, and we'll pass the turn like that. We'll take a look at what our opponents are playing today. First up is Firemaker 282, piloting Korvold, Fey Cursed King. This is going to be a treasures and food deck, so not the craziest version of Korvold that can be built, because this thing gets absolutely wild. Should be fairly tame on the Korvold spectrum, just that it's still Korvold. It being in play is just a problem. It will get huge, and they will draw a bunch of cards, and it's always kind of a thing. Opponent's going to Demonic Tutor. Is this the Demonic Tutor for a land? Because they have not played a land yet. Next up in the middle, we've got D-Manny piloting Sedris, the Traitor King. A deck that he's been playing a lot in paper also, and I'd say he's got a fairly tame version of this Sedris deck as well, because obviously you can do some wild stuff with graveyard decks, but his is just kind of a value reanimator type of thing. You'll see some Mole Drifters and stuff like that. You know, it's kind of a weird deck. Like, it's one that I've always wanted to build, and after seeing what his deck is doing, I do think you got to put like a little bit of cheese into the deck, because if you go like straight value, it just doesn't seem to do that much. I wonder what kind of changes he's made to see if he's smooth any of that stuff out. So at some point, you'd like to see him have some success. Anyway, they get a Solemn Simulacrum, grabs his land, puts the land into play. It's a great value play right there. And finally, we've got Chaotix 2075 piloting Riku of 2 Reflections. I have no idea what he's playing, but Riku's a silly commander, double your game actions. And he's got himself a Girapur Orrery into play. Interesting card, one that I haven't used in a long time now. At the time, certain colors, there wasn't great ways to ramp. Now there are better ways to ramp. But if you're doing like a group hug thing or something like that, Girapur Orrery, still kind of an interesting card. So we can play 2 lands a turn. Let's go ahead and do that. Get the Mana Confluence. I guess we'll get the Forest into play. You know, the clause with the at the beginning of each upkeep, if that player has no cards in hand, draws 3 cards, is actually really hard to get to. It's not an easy thing to do. What does this thing care about? It cares about for each non-token creature you control. So let's see if we can get some of those in. We'll cast this General Kudro of Drannith. Ooh, we can exile a card from a graveyard. Let's go for this Demonic Tutor. Never know what kind of trouble those are going to cause. Ooh, this seems very good against the Sedris deck. Just thought about that. Then we'll cast this Misako. Exile a land, I guess. We'll attack D-Manny. I know he's got the Solemn Simulacrum, but at some point, like, I don't know. Sometimes I think it's just better to get it out of the way and then, like, open the door back up. Yeah, I get that he can value with it at some point, but like... Oh, this had flash. We didn't have to cast that right away. Whoops. Hopefully a board wipe doesn't happen this turn. Make us look terrible. Replicating Ring. If you're wondering about the choice between Replicating Ring and Skyclave Relic, I like Skyclave Relic a lot better. The Replicating Ring, I'm going to do some attack with that Mirror Retriever, but yeah, unless you got some sort of Proliferate going on or something like that, some ability to speed the clock up on Replicating Ring, 8 turns is a really long time. You know, and assumingly you're casting that on turn 3, so you need the game to go to like turn 11 or something like that. Most games don't go that long now. So it's just a really hard thing to take advantage of. Again, if you're not playing like Atraxa Proliferate or something like that. So I'm a much bigger fan of Skyclave Relic if that's what you're looking to do. Because after Skyclave Relic came out, I realized like I've kind of always forgotten about cards like Everflowing Chalice, which are nice because they're super flexible. That flexibility is really helpful. You're just like, well, I don't have a lot going on this turn, so I can just pump a bunch of mana into this and get a really good mana rock out of it. That stuff is big. Opponent's going to shoot our General Kudro. That is unfortunate. But we can potentially bring him back later. We will need to exile some stuff from our graveyard first, though. But yeah, Skyclave Relic and Everflowing Chalice, I think, are really good cards that I don't quite think they get the credit they deserve. More people have seen Skyclave Relic because it's newer, but I feel like Everflowing Chalice has kind of been lost to time a little bit, where everyone talks about the need to ramp on 2 because casting your 4-mana commander on turn 3 automatically wins you the game. Everflowing Chalice actually allows you to do that. It just doesn't make any colored mana. But yeah, that's one that I've been trying to incorporate just a little bit more where I can and where it makes sense. That is a Liliana's Death Majesty coming into play. Really good Planeswalker. I really like the -3 on there. It's essentially a Zombify effect, turns it into a zombie. And, you know, notable for decks like Sisay, that's a Zombify that you can tutor out of the deck, which is really cool. Opponent goes for the plus. Rarely see the plus on that. Usually it's all about the minus, but they don't have anything in their graveyard, so I get it. Get themselves a blocker. I mean, we'll probably... Well, that's only a 2-1, so I guess that's not going anywhere, but we can at least eat the token. And you know what? I'm actually glad we got rid of the Solemn Simulacrum because now we don't care. They've already drawn the card, and we can swing over here, and, you know, that Solemn Simulacrum isn't going to protect them until the end of time because everyone's afraid of giving them a single card. And I'm not saying give your opponent's cards randomly, but, like, at some point, making a calculated decision of whether you should just get a Solemn Simulacrum off the board so that it doesn't say players can't attack you for the next 8 turns or something like that, because that will happen with Solemn sometimes. Anyway, that's a Sphinx of the Final Word coming in. Interesting blue card. 7 mana 5/5, flying hexproof, can't be countered. Instant and sorcery spells you control can't be countered. I remember this thing showing up as a control finisher in Standard for a minute. Not that I was following a ton of Standard at that time, but I just thought it was interesting when it showed up because cards like this had kind of gone by the wayside a little bit, I felt like, for a little while. So, I don't know. I thought it was interesting. Anyway, brings it back to our turn. There's a land. We can play 2 lands this turn, so I guess we'll do that. We are unfortunately running low on cards, though. That's maybe not great. But we will get this Lena into play, because why not? Hit ETBs, we'll get some tokens. So let's go to combat. We can swing into the Liliana. They'll have to block with the zombie. Eat a little bit of value right here. They block. And we'll pass like that. Replicating Ring trigger for opponent. So opponent casts their Korvold, sacrifices the Mirror Retriever. Gets a counter and they draw a card. Yep, pretty good. There it is. This is a Demon of Dark Schemes. That's not great. Huh. Yeah, we're going to lose a bunch of tokens. It's not ideal. Also going to lose this thing. And sadly, that is a blocker against this Sphinx of the Final Word. So we get hit with the -2/-2. They'll get a bunch of energy on there. Is that any graveyard? Any graveyard onto the battlefield tapped and under your control. Yup. They also have the mana to do that. I don't know that the creatures are super exciting in this moment. They're going to plus the Liliana. Ooh. Yeah, we should just Beast Within the Liliana. Unless Chaotix wants to come up with some big play to deal with it. Beast Within the Liliana. No one needs that. Actually, as far as ultimates go, that one's not that backbreaking. I mean, it's not going to feel good. Destroy all non-zombies, so it's probably a one-sided board wipe. But, yeah, I guess one-sided board wipes win games. But it's not like sacrifice a bunch of permanents or anything like that. There are definitely worse ultimates on commanders. This is one that you can recover from much easier than, like, an emblem or something like that. There's an explosive vegetation from our opponent. Yep. Oh, when does this trigger? At the beginning of each player's upkeep. We need to be empty by our upkeep. Actually, so we're going to draw a card on our draw step. We're going to have 3 cards this coming turn. We should probably empty out our removal, quite honestly, because then we'll get to draw with the Gearpore thingy. Here comes Riku. Yep. Sadly, that did not get hit by the -2/-2. There's a swamp. Yep, get that out of our hand. Yeah, I think we're just gonna... We're gonna make sure that this is gonna survive, and then we're gonna spend our removal so that we can draw 3 cards. Seems like a plan. Anything we can really do... Korvold could reasonably attack and try to get to the Liliana. How much do we care about that ability going off? They'll probably plus. Yeah, we'll see if Firemaker's gonna do anything. Another counter on his Replicating Ring. Ooh. So opponent's gonna Hero's Downfall on the Korvold. Korvold is gonna do 5 damage to... Ooh, uh-oh. We got a stack going. So Korvold's gonna do 5 damage to the Demon of the Dark Schemes. D-Manny's gonna respond by Hero's Downfall on the Korvold. Now we got a Deflecting Swat on the stack. And Hero's Downfall is gonna target Liliana now. Deflecting Swat, so good. So, opponent losing some stuff right here. We didn't even have to use our own removal, which was super cool. Now he's kind of low on cards, doesn't have a whole lot going, but I guess there is some stuff in his graveyard. He can cast his commander and get things out of his graveyard. That is what the deck does, so, you know, there's that, but not too bad. Opponent's gonna crack a Myriad Landscape. They draw a card. Yep. Korvold going on the attack. See where they're going. They have to sacrifice a permanent. Didn't see what they sacrificed. That's gonna swing into Chaotix. Yeah, that's cool. 7 commander damage, goes down to 33. Ooh, here comes a Chandra Flamecaller. Let's see what they want to do with this. They're going to wheel their hand. Yeah, that makes sense. Discards Hostage Taker. Ooh, Impulsive Pilferer. Hostage Taker is a nasty card. Ooh, KO's going to draw with the Girapur Orrery. He's empty-handed. We're planning to do the same thing. Goes up to 4 cards with his drop return. Soul Ring. What I do worry about is just like leaving Riku in play is dangerous. We probably shouldn't do that, but leaving Korvold in play is also dangerous. Chandra Flamecaller is pretty good, too. I guess we can put some damage on Chandra Flamecaller. We'll see what KO does for attacks if he wants to chip down the Planeswalker. He's not one that always does that. He's more of sit back and go try to find whatever wily thing he's trying to do. Well, this is ridiculous. Benefaction of Ronas. Reveal the top 5 cards of your library. You may put a creature and an enchantment from among them into your hand, rest in the graveyard. He gets 2 of those. There's an Archaeomancer in there. I'm sure that's part of some combo. Oh, yeah, here we go. Double cast... Spellkeeper, weird, what? Brass's Bounty, Heroic Intervention. Yep. He takes the... It was the enchantment that was in there. I forget which one. Curse of Echoes. Whenever an enchant player casts an instant or sorcery spell. Oh, yeah. He's going to target himself with that. We should probably shoot that. We'll wait for him to attack first. Hope he wants to attack this Planeswalker and kill it. It does have the ability to kill his commander. That does give him some incentive to... take it down. Nope, no attacks. Yeah, he does that. Not walking into our trap. Makes me sad. Yeah, let's definitely shoot this curse. I'm not here to find out what this is for. Looks like there's enough spell doubling in the deck also that he'll have a way to get it back. And then we'll go ahead and swords this Korvold. Yeah, it's pretty hard to do this trigger. Now, if you're playing a Nate deck, Nate has really low mana curves usually, and that does make it a lot easier to be able to draw with this thing. I tend to prefer higher mana curves because I like big Timmy creatures, and with those, it's really hard to draw with the Girapur Orrery. Alright, we got some stuff. We got a Metallic Mimic, we got an Arcane Signet, and we've got some Aura Shards. You know, there aren't that many things to shoot with the Aura Shards, but we're still going to play it because it's Aura Shards. Pretty nasty card. Kind of says, do you like having fun? Well, the fun's over, because Aura Shards is here. Then we're going to play a Metallic Mimic. Actually, can we get all these cards out of our hand? We probably can't. Yeah, no, we're definitely not going to have enough to do that. We stuck with 1 card in our hand, unfortunately. Well, might as well try to get them out. Get the Arcane Signet. Cast this Metallic Mimic. Choosing human. Aura Shards will trigger. I'm going to go for KO's Soul Ring, because mana with a Riku is scary. And we'll do some attacking. Both into the Chandra Flamecaller. They'll block 1. Brings it down to 1 loyalty, which it's still alive, but it's much safer. It can't just wipe our board, which is nice. They can still get value from it, though, unless Firemaker wants to do something about it. Opponent's going to root out our Aura Shards. They were talking about it in the chat. Yeah, Aura Shards is a really nasty card. Sadly, we only blew up a Soul Ring with it, but opponent gets to investigate. Here comes a Revel in Riches. Those are kind of scary. Especially in a Treasure Tokens deck, he could actually get the win. That's not out of the question for him. Okay. I see you. He's also at 47. We don't exactly have, like, tons of damage on the board. Semester's End, huh? Let's take a read of this one. As we see a Gyruda coming into play. Gyruda's pretty good. Gyruda trigger going off. Gyruda's maybe, like, a touch too strong? At least it's 6 mana. They didn't, like, way undercost it, like they tend to do with that stuff. Opponent's going to shoot our Lena. We'll sacrifice it in response so they don't gain life. That will trigger the Revel in Riches. First treasure. It's not great. We have to exile 2 legendaries. 2 legendaries. We could exile Lena. I'd like to get Lena back. Need more legendary stuff in our graveyard, I think. Do we mill anything good? Not really. Instance. Gray Merchant. Gross. That's the unfortunate part of, like, Reanimator decks now. They all kind of become 98 cards that don't matter in Gray Merchant. Sort of unfortunate. I've always liked the Reanimator archetype, but I just find Gray Merchant so boring. I know it's effective, but, like, ugh, really? There's just got to be more interesting things to do. That's an Archaeomancer. What's he gonna get back? Oh, there's some stuff in there. He can clone it if he wants. Getting back a Time Twister. I'm good for the card draw. Also, it shuffles the graveyard, which will shut off Danny's deck. We will lose some of our stuff in our graveyard, but if we get some new cards, I'm fine with that. Yeah, there comes the Time Twister. The most expensive card in the format. Some of my friends have real ones. I don't have a real one. We get a fresh 7 that is pretty bad. That's 5 lands, 2 creatures. That's not ideal. This one has partner with. I hope we can get the partner. That at least gives us something. Whenever another creature you control leaves the battlefield, if it had 1 or more counters on it, you draw a card and lose a life. That's something. There's a Kodama's Reach. And they'll double it. At least we can go, like, double land with the Garaport. Get 2 lands out of our hand. That was not a great Time Twister, though. Wheels are tricky like that. I guess we can cycle this one, which we'll probably want to do, given the large number of lands in our hand. And the fact that we're looking for some kind of gas. Beast over to Firemaker. Yep. Brings it back to our turn. It's a Rick Steadfast Leader. That's something. When it enters the battlefield, choose 2 from First Strike, Vigilance, and Lifelink. Yeah, we want all those. Humans you control have each of the chosen abilities. As long as you have 4 or more humans, you get +2/+2. Cool. Let's get some lands into play. Play a swamp. Play a swamp. And yeah, these are all going to have cost reductions. That's cool. Let's get Odric. Let's get Nakara. We get a partner trigger. Bummer. The other one is not a human. It is not in the deck. Makes me sad. And then we'll get a Rick. Let's go... How much does First Strike matter? Not a ton yet. I think Lifelink and Vigilance? First Strike does do some stuff. First Strike gives us blocking, especially against, like, that thing. Let's go... yeah, I think I want First Strike Lifelink. Yeah, Lifelink Vigilance is pretty cool, too, though. What does this have? Menace? This spreads Menace, doesn't it? Yeah, it does spread Menace. That's good. I'm going to go First Strike Lifelink. Odric trigger. Odric's a 6/6, which is cool. Send that in over there. It's not quite big enough to chew through everything yet. Yeah, Garuda's unfortunately kind of big. Yeah, maybe we just leave this guy back, because, well, these are all huge. Should send it somewhere. We'll send it to KO. The Menace means he has to block with something, although we'll probably lose that, which may not be the best attack. I'd rather he just takes the damage. Oh, he's going to do it. Yep. Nope. Didn't see the Menace. Yeah, he just takes the damage. Perfect. It worked. We go back to 40. I don't think we'll hang on to this, and if we need to, we'll crack the fetch and then cycle the Triome. Replicating Ring. How many are they on? They're on 4, so only halfway there. You got to get to 8. Still a ways to go. Mirage Mirror. Spicy. The card that I always want to run and never do, that I've been saying for 4 years now. Mirage Mirror, copying Revel in Riches. This will be bad. Oh, I don't like where this is going. Blasphemous Act. Ooh, it's not good. It's not good. That is a lot of Revel in Riches triggers. Please don't be an end-step trigger. At the beginning of your upkeep. Okay, we have a little time. Not a lot of time, but a little bit of time. We'll get to draw twice with Nakara. That's helpful. Everyone else, Danny's got a fresh 7, so if he has anything to do about it, then could be helpful. Nice play, Firemaker. Nice play. There's a Pier and a Ravos. Good cards, but not what we need in this moment to deal with double Revel in Riches. They can cast all the cards in their hand. Tireless Tracker coming in. Yep. Also, if Danny has the ability to cycle his hand, which, you know, can get him 7 fresh cards to look at to try to deal with the Revel in Riches problem. There's a Solemn Simulacrum. Investigates. Expedition Map. Cracks a clue. Draws a card. Thing gets bigger. Goldspan Dragon. Nice. Their mana is doubled. They're low on cards, though. Down to 2. But I guess they could recast Korvold, and that'll get them more. Goldspan Dragon on the attack. Card that I mostly forgot about, because so many cards have come out that it's easy to lose track of these things. Does have haste, and they're going to swing it into the Chandra. Nothing we can do about it. Chandra down. Opponent cracks a clue, draws a card, puts a counter on Tireless Tracker. Does it again. Academy Manufacturer. If you create a clue, food, or treasure token, make one of each instead. Removal is needed. Keeps going on the landfall thing. Finally passes the turn. Has 10 treasures in play. 1 Revel in Riches. Need to at least kill the Revel in Riches. Ideally, some of the other stuff too. An Austere Command would be good. Little help from our opponents would also be good here. Final Parting. Okay. Search your library for 2 cards. 1 in the hand, 1 in the graveyard. A really good card for these style of decks. The problem is, Grixis, not the best for getting rid of this stuff, but he had the one, was it Feed the Swarm? I think's the name of it. To get rid of Revel in Riches. That'd probably be a play worth making. Puts Faithless Looting in the graveyard, yeah. Tells me maybe he's got a few more lands than he wants. Or he's just trying to get stuff out of his hand. That's a pretty good card. Port of Carfel. Sacrifice it, mill 4 cards, return a creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. Yeah, seems good. There's a Dark Ritual. Rift? We have only 1 permanent in play. I would not be sad about a Rift. Would clean up all the treasures, stop all this nonsense. I'd have to do all of it again. There's the Rift. Love it. Opponent's going to do stuff in response. We're going to do stuff in response. We can just F6. There's a Mirage Mirror. Wonder what this could be. Oh, copy a land. Yeah. Opponent trying to use all their stuff. Cracks a clue, draws a card, Tireless Tracker. Opponent sacks food, gains 3 life. Sacks another food, gain 3 more life. And the Rift finally goes off. Usually I get crushed by a Rift, but not today because the board wipe already went off and we already lost most of our stuff. So recasting an Arcane Signet, no big deal for me, especially what was happening. There's a Frantic Search for opponent. Kind of hate that card. It's kind of OP. They need to make white cards that are free and can possibly net you mana. That's what I want to see. The board wipe version of this. Opponent untaps 3 lands and flashes back their Faithless Looting. So pretty good turn from our opponent right there. Don't actually have anything in play, but they've got mana with the Cabal Coffer, so setting themselves up for next turn. Based on the things that just happened, this game, it's going to go a few more turns. People have only lands in play. KO does have a lot of mana, though. That's the thing you got to watch out for, but it will take him a lot of it to recast Riku. Riku gets expensive quickly. Getting it shot is a big tempo problem for that deck. The game slowing down is good news for us trying to get this Ravos into play. Because Ravos, kind of a slow card, but getting stuff back is hugely powerful, especially at this stage of the game. So a couple turns of this, and we're right back in it. Collected Company, what? No idea what KO's up to. I believe that was a whiff. Got a Soul Ring back. Here comes Riku back to play. He has more mana than I thought. Words of Wisdom. You draw 2 cards, then each other player draws a card. We do need a card. That's going to happen twice. With that on the stack, I'm actually going to crack this Flooded Strand. I'm just trying to thin the deck, pull some lands out of it. We really don't want to draw lands. Canopy Vista will come in untapped, so let's get that. Anguished Unmaking, helpful. And a Soul Ring, perfect. Not too bad right there. Cards that matter. And then we'll cycle the Triome. Ooh, opponent has Yavimaya Cradle in play. I just noticed that. Each land is a forest, in addition to its other types. Oh my, that's a Kamal. Well, that's how we win the game. Do need to keep that alive, though. Firemaker's got a lot of cards in hand. So we want to get creatures onto the battlefield, that being the case. There's a Talisman. Play a Swamp. Play Soul Ring. Signet. Talisman. Get Kethis. Ravos. Looks like everything we're going to have mana for. Yeah, that's fine. Pass like that. So next turn, we will get a creature back. We can cast that creature. We can cast Peer. And then the following turn, we can Kamal. Actually, does this give haste? Oh, yeah. Okay. So if we get Odric Lunarch Marshal back, we cast it. We cast Kamal. We make 1 land with haste. That's going to give the team haste and trample and a lot of good stuff. Just need to make sure that we have all the mana to do that. So I'm going to double check on that. That'll be 3 to cast. That'll be 7 to cast. So we'll need 10 plus 2 more to activate. So that'll be 12 total mana. Tireless Tracker coming back. We'll be on 16 mana next turn, so we have enough to do all that. Fantastic. We could probably sneak Peer in there as well if we wanted to get a little extra damage. Opponent recasting all their stuff. They got Tireless Provisioner, Tireless Tracker, and Academy Manufacturer. Kind of a crazy card. Yeah, we'll take a peek at this thing for a second, so kind of glossed over it earlier, but if you would create a clue, food, or treasure token, instead create 1 of each. That's kind of crazy for decks like this. I mean, even just this Tireless Tracker bit. Kind of strong. Now opponent's got a bunch of tokens, and they can do stuff. Here's a Solemn Simulacrum. Opponent's life totals are still pretty high, so even just going on the attack with Kamal doesn't kill the table, unless someone does some big damage before our turn comes back. Is opponent like, is this infinite or something? Landfall, whenever a land enters, create a food, or a treasure. Witch's Oven, I'm sure that's not good. Sacrifice a creature, create a food or token. They can't be that far away from some infinite combo. I guess that taps, so they would need like one of the untapper artifacts to untap this thing. The value, though. The value is crazy. So, I don't know. Firemaker probably has to die. Hopefully we have 40 damage. Getting Rick into play would also be cool. That's a lot of mana, though. We don't have that much mana. Or do we? Oh, that's a Mirror March. That can make damage happen. Those are good. Those are good. I don't think we're the threat, though. So as long as he doesn't just kill the table, then we should be in all right shape. But Grey Merchant. Grey Merchant is a card. It does kill the table. There's a Sedris. Finally making an appearance. Mirror March trigger. It is legendary, so won't do that much. Ooh, Unearth the Gyruda. It's not great. Well, actually, this could help, because if we can get another legendary thing into the graveyard, I'm looking at casting the Odric and the Rick, but we need more legends in the graveyard to do it. Ooh, Gyruda Mirror March is a thing. Chance to put multiple things into the graveyard for us, but also the chance to get multiple creatures into play. They get a second Gyruda. We need some double strike is what we need. Cool. All right, we got some extra legends we can exile. Each other creature you control enters the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it. Tomek seems like something we could exile. Oh man, Anafenza would be so good against what's going on over here. There's a Grave Titan. No big deal. That'll make a lot of bodies. Luckily we have flying, so with Odric, Team Flying should do a lot for us. Team Trample is also a thing. There's Hixus. There's a Thalia's Lieutenant. Thalia's Lieutenant is interesting because it gives us more damage. Oh, it's not legendary. Bummer. Bummer. But we can pull that with the Ravos ability. That does help. Great Henge into the graveyard. Ooh, that's a Demon of Dark Schemes. That's probably going to be an issue, actually. Please don't get a copy. Opponent's going to start activating the Tireless Tracker. A bunch of things die. We lose our Ravos. That hurts. That was a part of the plan. Really need them to whiff on the Mirror March trigger, though. And they whiffed. Nice. Kethis is still alive. He can start using the Demon of Dark Schemes ability, though. How many counters does he have? 11? Yeah, he has a lot of energy. Still pretty good amount of mana. Yep. Demon of Dark Schemes getting a Massacre Worm. Ooh. Yep. Okay. Okay. Losing everything. Losing everything. Back to the command zone. Massacre Worms, Demon of Dark Schemes. There's the Grey Merchant. Fantastic. Yep. 98 cards. And a Grey Merchant. Mirror March. There's a second one. Opponent's at 155. We're at 1. KO goes down. They go to 2. Friggin' Grey Merchant. Yep. X17? There's only 2, though. Yeah, I guess we were at 34. So, there it is. Yep. Down we go. The powerful cards got us late. Cyclonic Rift. Actually, no. We lost our stuff. This deck... The feeling that I get is that this deck is not super well built to deal with explosiveness. Rift has the ability to make things explosive. I know the Rift didn't get us that bad, but we were just at the stage of the game where opponents were making such big plays that... And I guess if we left mana up, we could have shot the Mirror March. Like, if I didn't tap out for whatever we tapped out for. Shooting the Mirror March there stops all the trouble. But, yeah, got by the Grey Merchant. 98 cards and Grey Merchant. As far as this deck, I played it twice now. I think it needs a little card draw. Now, Nate knows how to build a deck that will, like, draw every card under the sun and probably do it by turn 6. So, like, this is more for everyone at home. Given what this deck is doing, because each human isn't hugely impactful on its own, you need more of them. So what I think I would do, I would probably cut like 2 creatures and add 2 card draw spots into the deck. Because in both games now, I've kind of just like drawn dead and just run out of cards and run out of stuff to do, which hasn't been the best. So that would be my main thing, is just getting more card draw into the deck. Who can we cut? I don't know. Masako is cool, but like, can live without it. Tomek has never done much for me, so, you know, I'm perfectly happy to cut both of those. And, I mean, literal anything. If you want to make it really strong, any of the repeatable draw effects, Zendikar Resurgent. What is Beast Whisper? Is that an elf? It's probably an elf. But repeatable draw for strong. I think his goal with this deck was to be a little bit more mid-powered, a little bit more chill. So that being the case, I would say stuff even just like a Harmonize and an Ancient Craving or something like that. That'll just get you into more cards so you can keep doing stuff. I did notice that we were running out of stuff to do in both games, so that'd be my main advice. I think just that, and if you're drawing more cards, that means that you don't necessarily have to bump up the removal count or anything like that, so that can be helpful. The gear per orrery that KO played was actually, like, reasonable. And if you're planning to just like cough everything out of your hand, that can be a decent card, just that your opponents will get more lands and they'll ramp better. So I don't know, that was interesting. It's certainly a choice you can make. Maybe a Rites of Flourishing is maybe a better way to go. I don't know. You can certainly try that if you want to. But yeah, I guess we got to our finisher. We just didn't have the time to get it down. You know, we got to a turn where we just had nothing in play, and we needed time to set up again for Kamal and all this stuff. And then Mirror March is too good. It's too explosive to be able to deal with that. And sadly, we tapped out. Couldn't use the Anguished Unmaking to shoot it before things really got out of hand. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. As always, feel free to comment, like, or subscribe. Thank you for watching. Commander Replay t-shirts, available in orange and colors beside orange. Hey guys, help support me and save 15% on singles by using the promo code REPLAY at mothershipatx.com.